What's going on, everybody? This is Bronco Juggalo.
And Bill.
And today I am here with the final Slashback video for the year, possibly forever. We are done with Slashback, guys. And I decided I wanted to get Bill involved in this one, and we debated on what we were going to do. Because today's theme is Slashbacks. Meaning you have to choose a movie that somebody else has reviewed over the course of the year.
And he reviewed it, but I didn't.
I did review this movie already, guys.
Oh.
So this is also getting a place in my remaking the review playlist. But between the two of us, we couldn't think of a better movie to do. And this is a movie we both absolutely love. And it's one that, on my original review, I didn't think I did as good of a job as I could have because of the circumstances at the time. Just, everything going on. And I wanted to give this movie another review. This is 1993's Dr. Giggles.
Oh, this is an amazing film.
Now, this is the movie that I give credit for really getting me addicted to horror. Now, I had liked horror before. I had seen a lot of horror movies and I liked them. But when Bill showed me this movie, when we were much, much younger, we ended up, what we did is we ended up going to he was spending the night at my house. He was spending the night at my place. And my mom gave us some money to go and rent some movies.
VHS.
So VHS, this is back in the day. Yes, this is back in the day of VHS. We crossed the interstate on foot, by the way. Don't ever cross the interstate on foot.
No, dangerous.
Yeah. And we went down to the local video store that was also part radio. I don't know if it was part Radio Shack yet. It might not have been part Radio Shack yet. I don't remember.
It did turn into that. Yeah.
But we went to the local video store and we rented this and we rented a He-Man movie. Because I love He-Man.
Yep.
And I've been obsessed with this movie and with horror ever since. So, Bill had seen this movie, he loved this movie, and he's like, you gotta check this movie out.
This is an amazing film.
Directed by Manny Cotto and starring Larry Drake, the late great Larry Drake, as Dr. Giggles, also known as Evan Rendell Jr. Starring Dougie Doug, yes, of early 90s fame, as Trotter. Also, the late Glenn Quinn as Max.
The town has a doctor. His name is Randell.
Stay away from his house. He's the doctor from hell.
Chopped up his patients, every last one.
He cut out their hearts purely for fun. Guys, before we get to pros and cons, one of the parallels I wanted to point out is a parallel between this movie and Halloween.
Really?
Yeah, this movie between Dr. Giggles and Michael Myers. They both escaped from insane asylums that they were both put in when they were very young.
Oh, okay.
And they can both drive cars, even though neither of them had ever done so.
Oh.
And they both drive them extremely well. I find that to be kind of funny and kind of cool. And, it just shows how many things come from Halloween.
You always find a Halloween reference.
Great scene in this movie that I like to call the open wide scene, where he opens wide and he's probing inside somebody's mouth with a depressor. Well, to film that scene, they actually built an oversized jaw with the tongue and everything. And when he was putting the thing in there, it was a large depressor, and he was pointing it down like this. So it looked like the camera was coming out of the person's mouth. It was pretty dope. I thought that was a very cool way of doing that scene.
Nice. Well shot.
Guys, this is a movie that I've said before, I don't have a single con for. As I have already reviewed this movie, I'm going to let Bill steer the ship, so to speak, through the pros. Because I don't think he has any cons either, do you?
No. No cons for this film. Pros? Okay, where do we start? The beginning of this film. It's amazing. It's original. And the whole... He's released the patients. He is just doing what he was taught to do from his father and cutting open the other doctors. And yeah, it's like Operation Gone Bad.
He has a genius level IQ, and he's a self-trained doctor, even though he isn't actually a doctor, but he knows all the doctoring shit. He knows how to do everything.
Yeah, you remember that game though, Operation? Yeah, this is this gone bad.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. One of the coolest thing I love about this movie is the scene where he cuts his way out of his own mother.
Oh,
I love that scene, and it's done so well, and it looks so good, and the practical effects are done really well.
yes.
Like when he's distorting the skin, and you can see like his hands coming up and all.
And then it's like giving birth to wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was really cool.
We're
I
giving
really enjoyed
birth
that.
to yeah, let's move away from that. Alright. My next pro for this film is Dr. Giggles himself, the one-liners and the giggling.
Done incredibly by Larry Drake.
Creepy as fuck.
Gotta give props to Larry Drake, man. He brought this character to life.
Yes.
He is an awesome actor. I've always enjoyed him in everything he's done. Whether it's a small TV role on Star Trek Voyager or a major motion picture, Larry Drake turned in his A game each and every time. And I think that Hollywood and horror movies especially are at a loss when it comes to the fact that he is no longer with us.
Yes.
The dude turned in an awesome performance here. He took what is probably just a pretty mediocre, crappy, horror film, slasher film,
Yeah.
and made it great.
Yes, he did.
It doesn't get the love and respect it deserves,
I've
and
always
I
said
really
that.
think it needs to.
I've always said this movie does not get enough love. And this was it a Dark Horse comic first?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it a movie?
Well, they planned it all out. They planned it, the people at Dark Horse and the film company all planned together and said, this is what we're gonna do. We got this idea about this killer doctor. We're going to do 2 comics, and then we're going to do a movie. And it was kind of like a plan out thing, and that's what they did, and that's how it happened, and it worked.
Nice. My next pro for this film, the kills. They're inventive.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see this in a lot of horror films where they're so inventive like this. Like the giant... It's all doctor instruments.
Yeah, like
Giant!
exaggerated and fucked up and tweaked out to be weird as fuck.
Open
doctor
your mouth.
instruments. Yeah.
And it's under your tongue and
Mm-hmm.
right through the head.
Yep.
I hope you
Or
have protection.
the suction thing that sucked all the ice cream out of her stomach.
Oh.
And then went in and fucking the drill or whatever that ripped into her guts and then pulled it all up the blood.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, the weaponry in this that he uses to kill people is amazing. Like you said, it's all kind of based on medical equipment, but it's all done with a "I'm gonna kill you" approach.
The giant blood pressure thing.
The blood pressure stuff. And the goofy parts of this movie, the super goofy. He puts the guy. He's in a funhouse, and he kills the guy, and he puts him up against the mirror with a giant Band-Aid across his head to hold him in place.
That was the most ridiculous one.
Yeah, but it was supposed to be that way, and it works.
Yeah,
it's
it
so
does.
good.
It does.
Guys, I want to take it back to the beginning of the movie again. I know you mentioned this a little bit before.
Okay.
You and I both are mostly of the same mind. I think if CGI is done right, it's okay.
Yes.
In horror, you think it's mostly if you want practical.
I want practical.
But I do love the CGI intro on the opening credit scene with this.
Okay.
At this time and point, it's something we hadn't really seen before. About the closest I could think of to this around this time period would be the Look Who's Talking movies with the swimming sperm.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do remember that. Yep.
But we're following these blood vessels, we're following these blood cells and all throughout the bloodstream. And then we see the knife come in, the scalpel, and puncture the heart. And it looks very animated, very early CGI-ish.
Yep.
But then we get a shot coming straight out of the chest to Dr. Giggles and the audience above him
The patients.
watching the operation. So you don't, and he's just talking, if it's your first time watching the movie, You don't realize exactly what's going on here. You think he is doing an open heart surgery.
Yep.
And it looks pretty cool. And I like that a lot. It's a very cool way to introduce this movie.
It is. It is a cool way to introduce this one. He's right. I'm sorry, but yeah, this is one of those times where I'm like, CGI is actually done well for its time.
And they did it again in a couple other things. They did it kind of in A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6, Freddy's Dead, where you go into Freddy's brain right before the 3D parts or during the 3D parts.
Oh, yeah.
And we see like the door shutting, the synapses firing and all. And then they do it again in Jason X, and I think it works there too. If it's done right, these kind of intros can work. They have to be done on the right kind of movies though too. Like you said, this is not a serious slasher film.
No, it's not.
A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6 or Freddy's Dead, because it's not actually called Nightmare on Elm Street 6. But Freddy's Dead is not a serious slasher film by any stretch of the imagination. And even Jason X is not a serious slasher film.
No.
They are all meant for fun, and that is exactly what we get.
Yes. And that's what it's all about. Are you having fun?
Are you entertained?
Are you? Yeah. Are you not entertained? Alright, the only other thing I want to touch on this film is the backstory. Not a lot of films do this well. Not just horror films, not a lot of films in general do a backstory well.
And we got a couple different backstories. We got not only Dr. Everett Randell's, but we got one of the police officers' backstory and how the two intersected and how they affected each other. You're right. They don't go into a lot of detail on some backstories, and they did in this one, and it really pulled it off nicely.
It pulled it off great, and a lot of movies, some movies try to do it, but they don't do it good. This one actually does it well. Like, he pulls the bottle out of his desk and says, I've been open this thing in
25 years.
25 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they go into the backstory of him coming out of his mother's stomach and him just really done well with backstory.
And then showing like little Evan Randell cutting up his stuffed animals, which is kind of disturbing.
Yes, that was great.
Just about everything Bill said here, guys, I agree with. The dialogue is great. I love the one-liners. The kills are great. The weaponry is great. They're very unique.
Terminal.
Everything is awesome about this movie. Yeah, I love this one-liner. When he's playing Dr. Mario and he's like...
Terminal.
Yeah. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this Slashback review. I hope you've enjoyed all my Slashback reviews and everybody else doing them. Please check them out because people have put a lot of work into these and they deserve it. It's been 52 weeks since we started this year. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been 104 weeks total in all the Slashback. And we've had a fucking blast doing it. Whatever we come to you with next will be awesome. This is Bronco Juggalo saying big props and shout out to the Horror Man for creating the Slashback Challenge. Peace.
And Bill saying, Terminal. Good night.
Mr. Zipper Face, motherfucker. Outside your window, peeping, creeping through the doggy door. But your doggy can't alarm your severed head, don't bark no more. Kitchen floor is steep with crimson nightlock, got an empty slot. And the biggest knife is missing, used to be there, but now it's not. Kinda hot, my face is sweaty underneath the bloody mess. With the zip